something new, finding my way through.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening to each and every one of you. What a gorgeous Sunday we have had so far, right? Man, I have had a wonderful Sunday. And y'all, I was doing my good wifely duties today. I was feeling so good today. I came home, made dinner, and told my husband, I said, honey, I made dinner, and now I'm getting ready to do my talk show. So I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me here on Candid Conversations with Ms. Crystal podcast. First, thanks so much to the ladies who joined me last week. I'm talking all about Dr. Ashley Anderson, Miss Monica, and Miss Wendy for our Hot Mamas conversation. Y'all have been blowing me up about that episode, but if you haven't, go ahead and sign up for Dr. Ashley Anderson's event that she has coming up. Hold on, I think this is, yeah, okay. Well, I'll get the right graphic. That's something else that she had, a hormone replacement, but it's going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be all virtual. And again, we're going to be talking about all those things that our mamas and grandmamas never talk to us about. All right, y'all. Today is Sunday, and just a very befitting name for today's show topic. It is called Joy Comes in the Morning. Today's conversation, it is powerful, it is personal, and I'm sitting down with a woman who has faced the fire and chose to rise anyway. Joi McAtee, she's a beloved daughter of Louisville, a graduate of the historic Central High School, and former director of equity for the city. And she's sitting down with me to share her truth for the very first time. After an unexpected and very public departure from a high-profile job, she found herself hurt, unsure of what was next. But rather than fold, she refocused. Rather than retreat, she reflected. And now, y'all, she is running, and amen goes right there. Today, she's talking about her bold leap into politics with her run for State Representative District 43. And let me tell you, this episode right here, it is a masterclass in comeback. We're talking about reclaiming your power. We're talking about what happens when you stop waiting for the room to invite you in and you start building your own. So grab your journal, grab your tea, and lean all the way in, because weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Everybody show some love for Miss Joi McAtee.
I have my tea right here also. So,
girl, listen, I told you we are on the same wavelength. You got your tea, Joi. First off, thank you so much for joining me. Listen, I cannot get over this smile, though. It's you just, internal joy is coming through. Welcome, Joi.
well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and to be invited on your amazing platform, and just to share space with you and to dive into some good discussion.
Hey, it's always a good time when joy comes in the building. But first off, let's start with the divine timing of it all, okay? You made your big announcement on Thursday, and yet this interview, Joi, as we had talked off air, had been rescheduled like 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, it's not just time yet. And I remember talking with you because I didn't know how much you wanted to talk about or what you wanted to talk about. And you was like, okay, I've got some things coming up, but maybe that last date that you've got, the 18th, is going to work. This was our 3rd date, y'all. And talk about total alignment, though, right? So how does it shape what you're walking into this next chapter? Talk about this next chapter and how this truly feels like divine alignment.
Yeah. I mean, it feels great. And, I'm someone that truly believes that everything happens when it's supposed to and how it's supposed to, right? Um, I'll just kind of give you a little look behind the curtain. I remember back during May of last year, and I was going through a particularly hard time.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, I can't wait to see what life looks like a year from now. A year from now, I'm going to look back and just be amazed at how I got over and how I got through. And I've said it to myself in several different points in my life. And it's almost like this timestamp I'm like declaring over my life to say,
Come
no
on.
matter what I'm going through right now, like I know a year from now, And that may seem like some time far off in the distance, but I'm like, I can't wait to see what my life looks like. And I didn't know what it was going to look like. I had no idea what was going to happen or transpire over those next few months. Uh, I knew one thing. I had like this. It's so funny. I was having like some health issues and health
Really?
care. Yeah, and it was all stress related, right? And I decided, okay, I'm gonna go get a motorcycle because this is the thing that I've been wanting to do and to have since I was a little kid. And so I'm gonna go do that. So I did that, and that was part of whatever I was gonna be looking forward to a year later. And a year ago, when I said that, I had no idea that I would be here announcing my candidacy for state representative for District 43. But I knew, like, again, there have been so many instances in my life where God has showed up, and I just
Oh,
had faith and I just let him do his thing, as I kind of hand over the reins, and I just trust that everything's going to work out in my favor, and it always does, and it's always far better than what I could have imagined. So I'm very much a believer in divine timing, and so
ah,
even us being having to push this interview back, because if we would have connected the first day, this is not the news I would have been releasing then. And so I appreciate you again allowing me to have my first sit down interview with you after making this announcement.
well, Joy, first off, thank you for allowing me your first sit down interview. And I don't know about y'all. Go ahead, put your comments or questions in the comments section. We'll get to them here in a bit. I'll pop them up on the screen. But I don't know about y'all, but Joy, you just gave me goosebumps. And I always use this phrase. A pastor that I listened to, a preacher, he's a national preacher, and he says different things. But one time it was a sermon he said years ago, and he says that God always ends on all is well. And he says that if your situation, if it's not what you wanted, if it's still dark, your all is well is not there. And I remember moments in my life where I would measure it with, I said, no, this ain't all is well, so God ain't done. And so for you to say, man, I can't wait to a year from now,
Mhm.
that and look at it now, look at you now,
Yeah.
just brimming with joy from the inside. And I love how you spell your name, Joi. And Joy, listen, let's go to be honest, you are my little cousin. I've known you before you were born. And the truth of the matter is, you were an answer to a prayer for your parents, thus the meaning of your name. So, talk a little bit about that and why faith is such a strong piece of your family and your history and who you are.
Yeah. No, it's everything to me. And it's funny because growing up, I did not like my name. I had made up in my mind around second grade that when I turned 18, that I was going to change my name.
No,
And
you
I
didn't.
did. Look, and
What?
I just come back from a birthday party from a dear friend of mine, and I was telling somebody this exact story. I said, "Look, I didn't like my name. One of the reasons why I didn't like it is because we're going by and we're doing the syllabus exercise and or syllable exercise, and kids are saying Christopher, Michael, and then we
Oh,
get
you
to
didn't have enough syllables, huh?
I didn't have enough syllables. I was like, and I'm trying to extend it. So I was like, Joy. And my teacher was like, no, it's just Joy. And I did not like that. I did not like it at all. And then the fact that it was spelled different, right? It has
Yeah.
an I instead of a Y. And so a lot of folks would mispronounce it. And I hated having to correct them, especially as a kid. And then, I got a little older and some little boy wrote in my yearbook and said he liked it. So then I was like, well, if you like it, I love it. But
Come
after
on
that,
now, right? That's all it took. That's all it
no,
took.
no, but as I've grown and matured, right, there's so many things that come with, like, I'm so blessed to have this name, right? I think
Yeah.
it's a unique name. And joy is what we need today. We can look at all the things that are happening at um, the national level, the state level, the local level, um, heck, across the world, right? And it is a duty for us to find joy in all that we do. Joy is resistance. I just attended a gallery opening in my district on Friday, and there was a beautiful exhibits, just kind of reinforcing that this is the way that we're going to have to stand up against a lot of the harmful legislation and policies that are coming down and hurting folks, and people are feeling attacked and left out of the conversation and forgotten.
Yeah.
But there's just something that we're able to do when community comes together and we're able to find joy. And,
Mm,
so I definitely love my name. It gives me, I feel like an extra power.
absolutely. And you just want joy, joy, right?
Yeah.
Thanks everybody who is now tuned in. Do us a favor, go ahead and share this broadcast. We know a lot of you watch it on the playback, but let me put some of those comments up. She says, Joy was the sweetest when I met her a couple of years ago.
Oh,
I
she's
agree.
solid. Rush them on in. If you're looking for childcare, she is an amazing Black woman business owner. She'll love on your baby. She has amazing programs and projects and things for them to do. I've been fortunate to work with her, so I appreciate that love.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Big shout out to LaRusha, and I want to send this strength, powerful, and beauty.
Wendy, she's
I definitely agree with that one right there. Again, thanks so much for you guys tuning in. Our girl Joy is here. And Joy, I have called this podcast the masterclass in the wilderness season because I feel like I've grown so much. I've had some amazing people on, and just being able to help tell and share their stories have been so therapeutic. Um and and I know this has been a season for you. We share things in common. Like I said, you're like my little cousin, but we both shared something really in common, which is knowing what it feels like to be released from a high profile position. And I remember reaching out to you when you no longer was in that role there, your former position. I remember reaching out to you during that time and just telling you, girl, your best is yet to come, and giving you all these words of wisdom. And then when it happened to me, you reaching out and extending that. And so, first off, I want to thank you publicly for that. But talk about, how you journeyed in that season, and what do you think you learned from that experience?
You know what is so funny? I I knew before I drove out the parking lot I was gonna be okay.
Ooh, girl.
I did. I felt it so deep in my soul. I did. And of course, I think it's natural to have questions about, well, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? And literally by that evening, I had a plan. Like, okay, I'm going to go back to school. And so I have the opportunity right now, currently at the University of Louisville, pursuing another master's in public administration, as well as my PhD in urban and public affairs. Absolutely love the program. Had the opportunity to teach undergrad students for the first time. Really, really gained a lot from that experience. And so I just knew that I just needed to stay on my path, right?
Yeah.
My grandmother just turned 100 years old on yesterday.
Girl,
And
what? Oh
yes,
my good, what a
Earth Mason, love you
blessing.
to death, shout out. But and she has these little sayings that she's just kind of imparted into me over the course of my life. And one of them is one monkey don't stop no show. It may slow it down, but it sure don't stop it.
Come
Right.
on. Come
And then
on.
the one that I really live by is I can, I am, and I'm going to.
Oof. Come
And
on.
and it's just those little things, right, that I use to remind myself that says there's a reason why things have happened the way that they did. And going back to when you and I spoke the other day, and you told me about that message, and I encourage y'all, if you have the chance, listen to Stephen Furtick's message on YouTube. Google it, whatever you got to do is call it. It had to happen, right? And it had me shouting my car because, of course, folks were curious. They wanted to know, and you feel like you want to tell them something, but like I also
You
really didn't
can't
want
speak.
to
Yeah.
tell them anything, really, because
Yes.
I'm just like, well, I mean, it's happened, it's done, I'm over it, it's fine, life is great. but sometimes in the back of your mind, right, you wonder if I would have done this that way or not did this or what could, like, these are questions that could never be answered, right? And
Mhm.
it really doesn't matter because it had to happen. It had to happen. And I'm glad it did because it just pushed me even closer towards my destiny. And so I'm thankful for every moment, everything that I've learned while I was had the chance to work in Metro government, had the pleasure of working for two mayors. I learned a lot under each one, and I was really able to build a lot of community connections and
Yeah.
relationships, and you know, was just able to be very authentic in the work that I do, and just so rooted in community and for the people. And you know, that doesn't change if I have a title or not. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on. That's
I'm
right.
gonna, you know, I was doing this work before I got there. I did it while I was there. I'm gonna keep doing it well after, right? Because it's not about that when you're doing it for the right reasons. And I'm doing it for the city. So
I'm telling you, you gave me goosebumps because you talked about that you had that resolution when you left the parking lot of that job. But like I told you, I was listening to that sermon the morning of my firing as I was getting ready for work, not knowing what was waiting on the other side of me when I walked through those doors. But God knew what was waiting for me, and just so happened had me listen to this sermon called "It Had to Happen." And honey, when I heard that, and I just got excited because I'm like, okay, it had to happen. And then after it happened, I'm like, ooh, it had to happen, Lord. And so,
yeah,
but this was to be able to share that with you and for you to get that message and for
immediately.
you to be like, okay, because
Yeah,
we know in the end, it's always going to work out for what? Our good,
are
our
good.
greatest good. Absolutely. Wow, people are coming into the room. Thank you so much. Put your comments in the chat and we'll try to get to it. All right, I'm calling this section Leap for Joy. And for folks who are getting to know you behind the headlines, tell us, who is Joi McAtee? What shaped you, and why is this decision to run for state representative so personal? But Joi, you know I got to do it. I got to go and show this picture of you because this
Oh,
is
I
how I
forgot.
remember Joi. This is how I remember your dad. Shout out to Brother Jerome. Was so proud. And honey, you was a hooper. You might still, are you still shoot ball?
Hey, I'm still a baller.
Okay,
I
I'm
be
sorry.
doing
You still
double
a
double.
ball.
Don't play with me. No, I no, no. No, I have not been on a court and competed in a while, but absolutely love the game. I'm a total sports fanatic. Um, I love going to the dirt ball every year, and that'll be starting up soon. Uh, but yeah, yeah, I was a little hooper back in my day. Um, I really took it seriously. I did. I did. I definitely thought I was going to the WNBA, but but at some point when we talk about kind of what led me to the path that I'm on now, I just remember having a distinct thought, right? Of I want to do something meaningful for the
Yeah.
city of Louisville. And I was a kid saying that. And it's one of those things where it's like, that's not really my family background. You know, I'm a first generation college student. And it's just been the grace of God that I've been able to navigate my way to the place where I am now, but also with the help of so many amazing people who believed in me and who've mentored me. Of course, my parents who love me and support me and pray
Shout
for me.
your parents out. You have, first off, the sweetest mama in the world, Sister Dolores.
D-Lo,
She is just the
she's a saint.
epitome.
She's a saint.
Your mama really is for real. Like
She's a
for
saint
real.
because she's married to my daddy.
And your daddy, Brother Jerome, big shout outs to him. But you've got some solid parents.
I do. I do. And I think I'm a good mix of both of them. You know, my dad has a little bit more of kind of like that bite and hardcore and a shark, but and don't get my mom twisted now. You know, she was born and raised in Clarksdale, Shepherd
Come
Square, but she she is just, you talk about a woman that is completely led by the spirit, has a
Oh,
heart of gold, loves unconditionally.
oh,
And it was my prayer even as I was young. I was like, Lord, help me to be like that. And I think that's kind of, when people talk about, I'm nice or, whatever, I was like, nah, I've been actively trying to be like my mother and to show up and to be compassionate and to care for people in a genuine way. Um, and so, but yeah, she's just amazing. And I have the greatest parents in the world.
absolutely. Very hands-on parents. And when I think about your mama, Sister Dolores, the only person that I could think of, I mean, I've met some amazing people, but it's got that goodness in their heart. I just think about my grandmama. Okay. So as
Yeah.
mama, my grandmama and Sister Dolores were the top people in my life who truly was like the epitome of the love of God. Absolutely. Just beautiful people. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Why run for office now? Why not take a break, recover? Or did you even think about walking away from public service altogether? Because after that blows, sometimes you're like, man, do I want to be in the public anymore? What made you say, hey, now is the time? And that's answering Miss Diane's question. What drove Joy to run for office?
Yeah. I mean, there was never any question of whether I was going to do something in public service, right? And I'm not just talking specifically about running for office. Like I
Mhm.
knew I wanted to be in a position to serve the community in some capacity. And a lot of times with politics, it's almost kind of like the right time, right place, right race. And this was one of those moments, going back to the timing part. And I didn't think about taking a break. Like I don't even know what that means. I attended Daughters of Greatness the other day at the Ali Center to
Big
honor
shout
the
outs to our girl Corinza,
Prince.
y'all. Oh,
And
yes.
she is the real deal. Okay.
Yes.
She's amazing. I just look up to her so much. And she's articulated something that I get a lot. It was just kind of like, how do you maintain a work-life balance? And she was just like, you don't. Like work is life is work. And if there's any question that annoys me more than anything, it's like, and I do take care of myself. I eat, I'm taking vitamins, I drink water, but it's like, are you resting? Are you taking a break? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know what that means. Like I am somebody who just goes and goes and goes. But it's because like I've just found this way. I've been blessed to be able to integrate the things that I do for work and the things that I'm passionate about in my life. Like they're the same.
That's
And so
beautiful.
every day that I wake up, I get to do what I love. And that's helping people, that's serving the community, that's thinking about how we address the tough issues that are faced in our community. And I'm blessed to do that. And I want to give everything that I have until God takes me on up out of here. But yes, I understand rest is important. Don't run in my inbox talking about you need a break. I do take vacations. I find little ways to, rest and recharge. But, this is the thing that excites me more than anything, having the opportunity to create a future that's better for our kids, right?
Yeah.
And we've always talked about this potential that the city has. Like, let's actualize it. Let's do something. Let's actually move the needle. And I feel like we're at that point where we can make those things happen. And so, that's what I'm most excited about, and being very intentional with this campaign and making sure that community feels part of democracy. Because of everything that we've experienced, people feel so tired and exhausted
Yeah.
with this at this point, and folks have checked out. And I'm telling you, politics is happening whether you are engaged or not. So
Mm.
it's best that you're at the table to help inform and influence what decisions are made. And so, and that's one of the things that we really plan to make key as part of our campaign is lots of community engagement, lots of district town halls, lots of planning sessions and working together, lots of listening to understand what are the things that keep you up at night? What
Mm,
really matters most to you? What are
yeah.
some of the solutions that you see? Because we have to stand with those who are feeling the anxiety of the higher utility bills,
Oh,
childcare, rent, the
yeah.
grocery prices, right? The folks who are worried about losing their health care. That's insane that in the United States of America, we are looking at potentially losing our Medicaid. Okay.
Medicaid.
Like that's
Yeah.
insane. And so I want folks to understand that they have a voice, to know that they matter, but then to also feel like they have some skin in the game and to just get active with this and helping to co-create the city that we want to see.
Absolutely. Big shout outs to my sis, Miss Kristen said, go Joy. She is here in the building. So you served at the metro level and now you're aiming for the state house. What inequities have you seen that you believe can only be addressed at this legislative level?
That's interesting. I mean, when you think about the legislative level, it's the laws that impact how our cities are governed. And for instance, I mean, we could look at HB4
Hmm.
and looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion and how that
Yeah.
impacts our universities and how that, when we think about how that trickles down, how that then affects our ability to attract the best professors, to attract and retain the best students. We have to be able to speak truth to power about what has happened in our nation. It's the
Mm,
only way that we are going to be able to move forward. We understand what the fears are. There is a growing minority that is soon to be the majority. And so now folks are trying to recraft this narrative and are trying to eliminate conversations that tell the truth.
mm,
And so I'm really going there to make sure that the truth is going to continue to be told and to also advocate for folks who feel left out of the conversation. When we think about um, infrastructure and investment, who are usually the folks that are receiving those benefits? Why are there disproportionate health outcomes in certain segments of the city? And so those are the things that I'll be able to um, hopefully influence through conversation, through grassroots efforts, and connecting with folks across the state, because this is not just a Louisville conversation. There are folks in Eastern Kentucky that are experiencing the same issues of poverty as folks in the West End of Louisville. And so there has to be some conversation, some coalition building, and figuring out and understanding that we have a lot more in common than not. And, recognizing that the divides that have been placed here, unfortunately by race and class
yeah,
is what is tearing this nation apart. And so
absolutely.
we have a
You
lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. And you said something that's so poignant. They have that saying is divide and conquer. But once we realize that we all are so much more alike than we are apart, and there truly is power in the people coming together rather than being so divided. If elected to represent District 43, well, first off, before I talk about that, tell us about District 43, your beloved community. Shout out your area.
Yeah, for sure. So District 43 borders the Ohio River and extends from Shawnee to Portland to Russell to downtown, Smoketown to Germantown, Paristown, Butchertown, Nulu to Zorn.
Come on. And she did that neck, y'all. So she gonna have a rap for that one coming up soon.
I mean, and I just think it's, I mean, I have a lot of bias, clearly. I've lived in the West End, now I live in Germantown, and District 43 is the true lifeblood of this city, the
Mm,
cultural heartbeat and influence of this city. When we think about fun things to do, we're talking about going downtown, right? We're talking about going to Shawnee Park for dirt bowl or cruising or just hanging out, you know, um, thinking about going to restaurants and different shops. You'll visit Nulu. I mean, there are little places that are popping up in Germantown and Shelby Park. Uh, the historic and oh so significant Smoketown.
Come
Okay.
on.
You know,
Yes.
there's a
My
community.
family's roots right there,
Yes,
Smoketown.
absolutely. That's just opened up. And so there's so many opportunities. It's such a diverse district. And thinking about the good that will benefit the rest of the state, it's going to start in District 43.
Wow, I love that. Hey, got to give a shout out to Roots 101 in the building. How you doing, Brother Lamont? Hope you're having a wonderful day. All right. If elected to District 43, what's the first issue you want to tackle? What's something you feel your district deeply needs and deserves that hasn't been yet delivered?
Economic investment without displacement. We've got to figure out
Ooh,
how
that was good. Yeah.
to get folks in a position to be able to own something, right? There's a significant swath of properties in the west end of Louisville that are not owned by people that live in Louisville or even the state. And they
Yeah.
certainly don't look like us, right? Um, we have to figure out how we are developing solutions to more affordable and quality housing. So, whether you want to own or whether you want to rent, you should be able to rent an affordable place where you don't have to worry about lead, you don't have to worry about infestations of rats or vermin or anything like that. You should have quality housing. We should be able to have quality housing for our seniors. Um, and we should be able to have jobs in District 43. We should be able to have a wage that affords people the opportunity to live and to thrive and not just live paycheck to paycheck. And so those are the things that I'm looking forward towards working with community on in some specific ways to make that actionable.
Absolutely. As a Black woman stepping into the political arena, how do you hope to shift not only the narrative, but the system?
You know, um, I'll certainly be aware of, who I am and perhaps even how I'm being perceived walking through the halls of the Capitol.
Mm,
Uh, but I know one thing is for sure is that knowing that I've done this work honestly with integrity and with community and building out this people-led agenda, this is not just about Joy going to Frankfurt, right? This is all of us going to Frankfurt because yes, I am running as a Democrat and we do not have the numbers. Okay. And so it's really going to take all of us being engaged at the local level, the state level, and just being very clear about what it takes for us to live the lives that we deserve and crafting a better future for ourselves. And so that's really what I'm thinking about. And of course, just speaking truth to power and being honest and not feeling like I need to censor myself in a way, right? And not just getting up there saying anything for the sake of speaking because I have a microphone in my hand, but saying things that I hope would educate, inspire, and activate folks to get involved in the work.
I love that. Educate and inspire people to activate. I like that. Well, Joy, this show is all about transparency, transforming people. So, in that spirit, what has been your biggest fear about running and what is giving you peace about this decision?
Someone asked me that question earlier, and it took me the longest time to answer it because I don't have um, a lot of fear about running, because it's something that I feel has been in my heart since I was a kid, just something that was placed in my heart. Being at Central High School just gave me a completely different perspective about the way that my neighborhood looked like and versus how my classmates and friends' neighborhoods looked like. And I just felt like I wanted to do something about that. Like, how come I have certain opportunities and other people don't? And then, of course, you scale that out and you break that down across race and across gender. And those are just things that I feel like I really want to um, address and keep at the forefront of why I'm here, you know. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity. Um, so I can't say that I'm afraid, right? Because again, everything has always worked out exactly how it was supposed to.
Oof.
And beyond just winning a race, this is bigger than just winning a race for me. This is about getting folks involved and acknowledging and taking back their power
Ooh.
and using their voice
Yeah.
in action.
Especially in a time when a lot of people feel
Absolutely.
powerless, like
Yes.
things are just happening and there's
Yeah.
nothing we can do about it, because that's exactly how it feels right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
along the way, that's really what I hope to accomplish. It would be great to win, and I would be so fortunate to accept that blessing by being elected to represent the residents of District 43. But it's really so much bigger than just me as an individual. Again, politics is happening whether you are aware or not. So it's best that everyone is engaged and at the table.
Absolutely. And you being at the table is so awe-inspiring to have this be part of your story, as people have been watching and wondering what your next move was going to be. But you've faced rejection, but you didn't shrink. You chose to rise. And what do you want women in particular watching this, especially those who have been overlooked, fired, or forgotten? What do
Mhm.
you want women to take away from your story?
Keep going. Keep going. We were built for this. We can handle it. If you don't do it, who's going to do it, right? Women truly make the world go round. Find your community, find your girls, find your support system, and the ones who will love you and encourage you and big you up. And
Ooh, I like that, big you up. Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely have a lot of great women around me who do that for me for sure. And know that you have a purpose, and if you don't do it, it will not get done. And
Hmm,
so I mean,
absolutely.
we're so powerful. We birth life into the world,
Come on. Come on.
and so
Absolutely.
many of our accomplishments haven't even been told because women's voices have traditionally been silenced, right?
Mm.
um, but women are the most beautiful, strongest individuals, I believe, to walk this planet, and God really did his thing when he made the woman. So
Come on now. I can hear them revving up them engines in unison. Gotcha. Absolutely. Now, Joy, I want to do something I want to do something called quick fire. And it's a round I call Keep It Candid. And it's a set of quick fire questions. And I want you to just come up with whatever comes to mind, right? No filter. You
Lord.
ready? You ready?
Okay.
All right. What's your power color?
Red.
Red. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl. Both.
Both.
I'm a
Okay.
huh?
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Read my Bible app.
Amen. Come on now. You're not one of them scrollers first. That's powerful, Joy. Go ahead, girl. Hey, what's a quote or scripture that you live by?
I got a few, but I think for this time, the kingdom suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
On right now.
I know that's right. Coffee, tea, or a mimosa?
Uh, by the grace of God, I've been sober for almost 4 years, so no mimosas. I am a big coffee person, but today I'm drinking tea. And
Amen.
but woo wee, and I've gotten to a place now I can drink coffee black.
Oh, girl,
So I feel real good
really?
and grown. I feel real good and grown now.
I sound like that's granddaddy grown. That's how my grandfather would drink it black. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
I listen to my favorite sports cast, the Dan Lebertard Show with Stu Gatz, and it's such a niche thing that most people don't know about. But if I ever run into somebody who knows about it, we're immediately best friends.
Kindred spirits, right? I love that.
Yes.
What song is the soundtrack for your life right now?
That's a good question. I really don't know that.
Okay,
I
you
know
gotta.
right now I have a Fred Hammond song in my mind, just
What is it?
literally telling you
Anything Fred Hammond will do it. Which one?
Hey, this
Sing
is
it.
a conversation that needs to be had. Kurt Franklin versus Fred Hammond. Fred Hammond is the greatest of all time.
Come on. Now, okay, so okay, so first off, whoo, I don't know if they could go against each other because first off, Fred Hammond, honey, he takes it to a different level. But Kurt
Hey,
Franklin with that pen is dangerous. But Fred Hammond, I don't think that's a fair
no, I really just wanted to
battle.
choose violence in the chat and let the people.
Come on, y'all, put it in the chat. What do you think? Kurt Franklin, Fred Hammond. But Fred Hammond was someone that was really near
Ooh,
and dear to the heart of my late Aunt Curl, someone
yeah,
someone who your father
yeah.
was extremely close to. And I'll never forget that song that she had on repeat in her final days. And for those unaware, my Aunt Curl passed. This was in 99, age of 37, her second bout with breast cancer. But there was a song that she would put on repeat, and it was Every Step of a Righteous Man is Ordered by God.
Mhm.
And it says, though you may not understand his mind, he will reveal it all in time. Just know till then, your steps are ordered by
Oh
God.
yeah, Fred's a man. So
Come
anything with
on.
Fred Hammond, I mean, he's
Yeah,
the
The
guy.
Pages of Life. That was the
Yes,
album that had just
right.
come
Yeah,
out.
1 and 2. Yeah, yeah.
Woo, that's tough, honey. And I still get choked up when I think about that song. Y'all go on and listen to that, okay? Put it up on YouTube. What's something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Phew. And here's the thing, I'll
Dun-dun.
think of a million things as soon as we get off of here.
Right. Okay. Think about it. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
What's one thing you would tell your younger self? What's one thing that you would tell this little girl right here in this picture?
You a bad girl.
Come on. Period.
You a bad girl. Keep going. I'm telling you, it all works out great. Just wait.
Mm, I love that. When you hear the word comeback, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I ain't never left.
It. That's
I ain't
right.
never left.
Don't call it a comeback, right?
Oh, I'm back.
No, that's right. Well, Joy, this has been an absolute pleasure having this time with you, getting an opportunity to first off share this victory, your next move. And as I say, your next move will be your best move, getting an opportunity to share your next move with the great people of this city, of the state, of the world. What words do you want to leave the people with? What do you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Well, let me just thank everybody for reaching out to me over the last couple of days. And, when I say I've been overwhelmed, I cannot say that enough. With just the outpouring of love and support and encouragement. But most importantly, the folks who are ready to hit the ground running and get to work and realizing like the time is now and it's only us that's going to save us. And so I would love to have you to be part of this work that we're building, and we have to do it together. Again, this is not just about Joy going to Frankfurt. It is all of us leaning in to help save our communities. And we have the power. We just have to use it. And so please tap into the website, joymcatee.com. Donate what you can, sign up to volunteer, come out and help us build solutions and build up this agenda. Register to vote, tell a friend to register to vote, find out where your polling place is, and let's take this power back, y'all.
Come on, let's take this power back. And Joy McAtee, I just want to say that you show us all the joy comes in the morning. And along with the history of this beautiful girl, along with hearing her passion, her hope, what she has anticipated for District 43. I think you also need to take with you what she said. It had to happen. Whatever you may be going through, just understand it's going to work out for your good. But whatever roadblock, whatever valley, whatever darkness you may find yourself in, just know in the end, it had to happen and it's going to work out for your good. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.